Okay, we come to the third factor, liquidity. Okay, चलिए देखते हैं. Let's find out how does liquidity affect. Liquidity मतलब I love liquid. It means I want to have a lot of liquid money. Money should be freely available to me for use. Okay, example, liquid money, cash in bank, fixed deposits. Okay, abhi bhi bank mein gaya, I went to bank, I want to encash my money. That is called liquidity. Okay, so naturally liquidity can be because of age and can be because of circumstances. How age? As I grow old, I need lot of liquidity. क्यों? क्योंकि हॉस्पिटल जाना है. I have to go to hospital. I am scared of my health. Okay, so I will need lot of liquidity. I will need a hell lot of liquid money because I am scared that I might be requiring medications. My wife might be ill, etc. Okay, but if I am young, then I need liquidity under the circumstances. Okay, what can be circumstances? Studies. So sir, मुझे पढ़ना है. During the time of getting admission into a good B school, I will require a lot of money. I want to go to Harvard. I want to spend a lot of money. So my liquidity needs becomes higher over here. Or circumstances can be बेटी की शादी, daughter's marriage. Okay, बेटी की शादी. That's one of the common examples of liquidity requirement, right? बेटी की शादी करना है, सर मुझे पैसे चाहिए. Okay, so that is one of the things. So that means relationship क्या है? Liquidity जितना चाहिए, risk taking capability उतना कम है. सिंपल है, बिकॉज मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है भाई, मुझे पैसे चाहिए. आई कांट इन्वेस्ट, सो ऑब्वियसली आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू गिव माई मैनेजर एनफ टाइम सो दैट ही अर्न्स रिटर्न्स. करेक्ट? सो दिस इज द सिंपल रिलेशनशिप. ओके, सो टाइम रिलेशनशिप अंडरस्टूड, टैक्स रिलेशनशिप अंडरस्टूड, लिक्विडिटी रिलेशनशिप अंडरस्टूड. ठीक है, लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द नेक्स्ट फैक्टर, रेगुलेटरी. Regulations. How does regulation drive investments? Okay, it's one of the very key factors. Okay, tomorrow if India says you cannot invest in a tobacco manufacturing company, right? God forbid if such thing happens, then what really happens is that I cannot any time invest in ITC. So that means I have a return issue. Correct? And I also have a risk issue. So I am not able to take higher risk because government is telling me, भैया यहाँ पे invest नहीं करना, don't invest in this security. Okay, that means I am being constrained that you do not invest in certain securities. So the moment you don't invest in certain securities, your risk profile goes for a toss. Okay, you wanted to take this risk, but you are not being able to take it. ठीक है? Regulations. Okay, or casinos. India suddenly says, no sir, you can't invest in stock of casinos. Okay, so what happens? You cannot invest in casinos. Or it says opium. Okay, so basically these are all got to do with morality, moral science. Correct? This all got to do with morality. Okay, so moral science comes into picture and my risk taking capabilities all go for a toss. Okay. Next we come to market. I am in US market. I am in Indian market. I also happen to be in Somalia. Okay, I know worst example. ठीक है. Now US market typically will have low risk because of the perceived fact that it is developed. Okay, it's a developed country. This developing So there's a lot of corruption, correct, which can hit your risk profile very much. यहाँ तो ज़्यादा problem, बहुत ज़्यादा problem है. There's a lot of problems. If anybody invests here, he is taking utterly rubbish amount of risk. Somalia, right? So market as a constant starts determining कि भैया आपका risk क्या होने वाला है, right? So depends on the country. So that means I can more or less say development being higher, risk always will be lesser for that portfolio investment. Okay? Let's come back to interest rate. Okay, this is a fantastic part. So you keep on hearing this, RBI, Fed, they keep on doing something called rate hike. Okay, so whenever a rate hike happens, what do people do? If a rate goes up, people start investing in bonds more because their earnings is more, and all of a sudden equity market goes down and people of equity become very very sad, correct? दुखी हो जाते हैं बेचारे लोग जब भी फेड रेट हाइक होता है. So you keep on hearing this, Fed has hiked its rate, the global markets have shifted to US, developing countries से पैसा चला गया, the capital has gone from developing countries to back to developed countries. So this is how interest rate kind of has got its own play. So as a normal routine, if interest rate goes up, my risk kind of goes up for equity market because people see it as unsafe. Because if the interest rate goes up, then people will invest in RBI securities or Fed security, which are far more stable. वो equity में क्यों बाजार में आएंगे? Why will they come to equity? They will never come to equity. Okay, they will never come to equity. Why? Because they know that okay, these are stable instruments. So that means time being more, risk is less. So I'm just summarizing. Tax is more, risk is more, liquidity is more, risk is higher. Market development is more, risk is lesser. Interest rate goes up, risk is less. So this is how you should be remembering this table. अच्छे से याद रख लीजिए, ठीक है? Because this is never going to change, irrespective of the fact you're in class 12, you're in BCom, you're CFA, FRM, Harvard University, Kennedy University, whichever university you go, ये अपना loss जो है ये same रहने वाला है. It is not never going to change. Okay? Now the point is, risk can be calculated by various methods, but basically it is the variance or standard deviation of the data. मतलब क्या है? Let's understand what is this we are talking about. Okay? So I have a certain return. Okay, obviously you will have to see my quant ka snippet. You will have to see my quant snippet in terms of understanding what is standard deviation, etc. But this is a very simple example. So this is a return. The total of this is 36%. The mean is 36 by 3, matlab 12, correct? So when I say x mean is 12, this is my average return, correct? Now what will I do? I'll say how much is this return fluctuating with each other? -2, 0, 2. So this is called the normal deviation. इसको हम लोग deviation बोलते हैं. And division को जब भी add करेंगे, if you see the quant snippet, you will find that the deviation is always 0. And now I'll square it, so that is not 0. So ये 8 हो गया, 8. Now I'll come to variance. Variance is nothing but 8 by 3, and standard deviation is nothing but square root of 8 by 3. Okay. ये 8/3 जो भी आएगा ना उसका स्क्वायर रूट होगा. ओके, समथिंग लाइक दिस. ठीक है. So obviously what is happening when I am saying standard deviation, what am I doing? I am basically concerned about the fact that the return is fluctuating. I don't like things which fluctuates. ठीक है, कभी ये 10 दे रहा है, कभी ये 12 दे रहा है, कभी ये 14 दे रहा है, sometimes it is 10, sometimes it is 12, sometimes it is 14. Okay, so I don't like things fluctuating, or I would rather put it as yo-yo. Okay, not yo-yo honey sing obviously. Okay, but when a data is like this yo-yoing, I would rather say there's a lot of standard deviation, and that means a hell lot of risk, because if data is yo-yo so much, is yo-yoing so much, tomorrow next year what will be the return? It is difficult to predict. Very difficult to predict. Okay, so this happens to be the prime reason why this difficulty increases the standard deviation, and that in play increases the risk. So we are done with 2 slides in terms of risk and return. Okay. Before we go to modern portfolio theory, okay, ये थोड़ा डरावना लग रहा है. This slide is looking a bit crazy. So today if I go to market and I look out for choices, there will be infinite securities with infinite risk and infinite return. Okay, natural. If I go to market and say भैया मुझे इक्विटी का बताइए और how many debentures or how many debts, bonds, etc. Okay, I will have infinite amount of securities which has infinite risk and infinite return being mapped to one security. So one security, each security has one risk and one return. ठीक है? So this is how, as a layman, as a class 12 guy, you would typically start off with, right? That I go to a market and I see a lot of securities are there. Each security has got one risk and one return. Okay? So naturally, what are we going to do? With that one risk and returns, I am going to map it in an axis. Okay? जहाँ पे मैं देखूँगा कि भैया ये risk है और ये मेरा return है. And this green बिंदु, this green dots are all possible securities. ठीक है? Now let's understand this. This green, let's take this as SD of 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and let this return be 15%, 13%, 11%. ठीक है? So this bindu, this coordinate, this represents 4 risk and probably 10 return. Okay, this guy represents 4 risk and 12 return, and this guy represents 4 risk, 15 return. So obviously if I have a bit of common sense, at the same amount of risk, 4 risk, 4 risk and 4 risk, which one do I choose? Out of my common sense, I choose somebody who gives more return. Correct? So rule 1, same risk, more return. Simple hai, there is no rocket science. Correct? This is rule number 1. This must be the rule number 1. Okay? That means this 2 is inefficient. This is also inefficient. And this guy turns out to be efficient. Correct? So this is one of my efficient securities that I have found. Okay? Which has got same risk and more return. Okay? Rule number 2. If I have a bit of common sense, same return, less risk will be my rule 2. Correct? जैसे ये same return but lesser risk. This guy has got lesser risk. इनका रिस्क ज्यादा है, so eliminate. So this guy happens to be one of my efficient frontier of rule 2. So this guy comes from rule 2 and this guy comes from rule 1. Correct? So the moment I start joining this, ये जो बड़ा वाला जो part है, this part. So the moment I'll take a different color. So the moment I join this part is called efficient frontier of Markowitz. Simple है, ये बड़ा हाथी घोड़ा है नहीं. This is not a हाथी घोड़ा. Okay, this is the easiest topic on the earth. Okay, so this part is called efficient frontier, and this efficient frontier was done by Markowitz. People often get scared of Markowitz, right? So this part is Henry Markowitz, efficient frontier. Okay, and this part, or so to say, anything below this is non-optimal, मतलब inefficient. Inefficient है, कोई फायदा नहीं है. These are all inefficient. The ones which are below this, okay, even this, and this guy over the corner. Let's make your board a bit simple. And this guy over the corner, ये जो बंदा है, this is called global minimum variance portfolio. Why? Because it has got the least risk, सबसे कम risk, least amount of risk is the global minimum variance portfolio, which is the starting point of efficient frontier. Correct? ये ऐसे चालू होता है. He is basically starting from here. Tuck, 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 tuck. Here you go. Okay? So this is nothing but the concept of efficient frontier. Okay? So that means efficient frontier में क्या है? What is the fundamental assumption? You have अनंत return, infinite returns, infinite risk, and what are you doing with this? You are choosing who is efficient. Okay, but we are still having this problem. We still have infinite securities. There's a lot of securities in this line. बहुत सारे. There are too many securities. So imagine if I am an investor, I will go crazy in terms of where to choose. कहाँ पे choose करना है? Okay, that's our next topic. Okay, so as of now, this is like risk increasing, return बढ़ रहा है. but I have not even gone to this choice that which one I need to choose. Okay, I haven't gone into that choice that which one I need to choose. Okay, I haven't gone yet. So Markowitz did not solve our problem. What is the problem which he didn't solve? He didn't solve our question, which security to invest. He just gave us a wall that भैया यहाँ से यहाँ तक dot 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 choose anything from here, right? Choose which one, which one, कौन सा वाला? This he didn't answer. Yes, the answer नहीं किया. He didn't answer us. This question he didn't answer. Okay, he left it conveniently for next people. Okay. So before I go there was this professor. So now we are back to this topic. There was this professor called Henry Markowitz, 1952. He made mean and variance analysis. He made a mathematical framework for assembling a portfolio of assets such that the expected return is maximized for a given level of risk. Okay. And calculation of expected return and requirement of rate of return is there. Okay. And what are the assumptions that he made? He made some silly assumptions. Some of them are returns on portfolio are normally distributed. Okay. So one of my quant classes we will come to know that why is this normally distributed. अगर normal नहीं होता तो क्या होता? If it's not normal, then the simple and silly answer is, sir, it makes our life more difficult. If it's not normal, then life would have been much more difficult. Okay. Imagine a distribution is not normal, so you cannot predict anything. Second is decision for investment is based on expected risk and return. So you cannot say I am old, I cannot invest in ITC, I cannot invest in tobacco, I cannot invest in opium, वो सब नहीं चलेगा. All that he simplified. He said, boss, there's no regulatory issues, you just decide everything on this. Okay. Then he said, you look towards diversification, and they also said perfect market. What is perfect market? A market where there is no transaction tax. Okay. There are no transaction tax. Okay. It's a utopian world, so he obviously assumed everything utopian, and then he said, ki boss, use your common sense, and you get this. Okay. So we'll take a break here in terms of understanding ki what are the efficient frontier and what are the securities that is available to us. ठीक है? Okay. चलिए.